Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And we are back with some more Maul madness here on the show. Today, we are talking about the season 1 finale of Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord. We made it to the end of yet another season of Star Wars TV, Sarah. And if that doesn't deserve a I don't know what does, because this is just single-handedly one of the most balls to the wall craziness. I'm thinking of all the cuckoo bananas. That's your favorite?
Yeah, cuckoo bananas.
Adjective? Yeah.
Yep.
Cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
What an episode of TV. We're going to talk all about it today here on the show. I am so excited. But before we dive into that, we just went through the ringer today buying Star Wars Celebration tickets. Just a quick debrief.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was miserable. I was a little hangry because it came right around lunch. And then my green walking men were not moving. Thankfully, Brad's green walking man was moving. But I think we got in like 2 or 3 minutes too late for 4-day passes, which I don't think I've told Brad this yet. I was really grumpy about it because, yes, it's like much more expensive. However, I was really grumpy about it because this will be my 4th celebration and I only have 1 pass for the other 3. So I feel like something is fundamentally broken now that I have 4 passes for 1. Yeah, and I'm like, yes, more art, huzzah, huzzah, but I'm breaking a tradition. What is the tradition? Buying the 4-day pass, apparently, in my mind. So yeah, we ended up being able to get single day passes. Brad booked the hotel too. Thank you, Brad. It was stressful today. It was really stressful. Everything is now sold out. I am frustrated by the 20 ticket limit.
Me and my 20 besties that I know.
That's right.
For
that's
sure.
Right. And I think like 4 feels pretty standard. 6, if you want to be like, we can accommodate bigger families with 6, sure. 10 if you're feeling crazy. 20?
Well, and here's the thing too, there are separate tickets for adults and kids. So just limit the adult tickets to like 5 or 6 and then make the kids tickets unlimited if you want.
But you have
20.
to buy, I think if your kid is over 12, you have to buy an adult ticket, I think. So it's a little limiting, but like, you know,
20 is a lot. 20, for every one friend group that the 20 limit helps, there's like 10 more scalpers that it profits. So it's like, who are we really appealing to here? So I was shocked. I got in within 40 minutes and the 4 days were sold out. And I think that's the fastest I've ever gotten into the store to buy the tickets. So I was kind of surprised when I got through. I did get the 50th anniversary flight jacket, which I am very happy about.
It should look pretty snazzy.
I know.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Can't wait to wear it in the nice Los Angeles warm sunny day.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got the pin. That's right. I get one every year. My big. You
gotta get the logo pin.
Yeah, my big piece of pre-order merch is the logo pin. The thing we were thinking about that Tatooine jacket. I mean, it's cool, but the reality is I have a fleece jacket that I am highly identifiable by locally. And I think if I switched up the fleece jacket, people would be confused. And so I decided I don't need this $125 fleece jacket. However, I could be convinced next April 1 if they decide to sell it in the shop at Celebration and we get that Thursday 9 a.m. slot. I'm going to manifest it really hard.
Well, I will certainly be there right by your side to enable you to make all of the most irresponsible purchases you could possibly imagine.
Thanks. Wow.
I'll be there.
Thank you. Well, yes.
Cassian said I had to.
Point being, we will be there. I'm really excited about it. And lots to look forward to, I think. And
yeah,
I was glad to see as the time went on, more and more friends and peers and members of the Star Wars community at large getting tickets. So I hope that everybody got what they were hoping to get. And I always say, like, don't despair if you didn't get tickets today. There will be some way. There will be someone between now and next year who has something come up that'll, means that they can't go, and we'll try and, hand off that ticket elsewhere. So it's not over until it's over, is all I'm saying.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Star Wars Celebration tickets are like the sun. If you only believe in it when you see it, You'll never make it through the night.
Okay. You could have just done the original line on that one, actually, and it still would have also worked. But making it tickets, making it very literal, works for me.
Making it very capitalistic. I love it. I love it.
Yep. So anyway,
so
catch you there.
Our robot Shadow Lord man. Let's get into it, Sarah. Listener.
Yeah, not your best transition, but we'll go for it.
So, Robot Shadow Man, we're gonna dive into Maul now. So, full spoilers ahead from here on out. You have been warned. There's really no other way to talk about these 2 episodes aside from spoilers. So, we are discussing Chapter 9, Strange Allies, directed by Stuart Lee and written by Christopher Yost. And then Chapter 10, which we found out the title is The Dark Lord. And this is directed by Nathaniel Villanueva and written by Matt Miknovitz and Brad Rao, which I think this is Brad Rao's first writing credit this season, I believe. Coming in for the finale, coming in hot. So love to see that. I said this to you when we were FaceTiming. I watched with you over FaceTime for your first viewing.
We did do that.
It was very entertaining.
Can we set that up a little bit? Because
sure.
Monday, I went to the IMAX preview of The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I was like, oh no, I don't know when I'm going to get to these episodes. I am going to this preview, and then I have Korean class on Tuesdays, and I was like, I'll probably get it too on Wednesday or Tuesday night. And you were like, no. I will rewatch it with you right now if you say yes right now. And I was like, oh, he's serious. So we got on FaceTime and we watched it, and you watched me put my hands over my head for a lot of this episode in shock and awe.
Yeah. One of the best season finales of Star Wars animation of all time. And I started to go through my mind and think of the ones that come to the immediate forefront. And you got Twilight of the Apprentice, the Siege of Mandalore. I personally love the Star Wars Resistance series finale. I think that's just a nice wholesome one. There's probably some ones I'm missing, but like in terms of top 5, like this definitely makes a case for it. Because this is just, it's a lot of action. There's some really good character moments in there as well. But I think in terms of like the things that you thought about as a kid, is like, wouldn't it be so cool if like Darth Vader fought Darth Maul? Wouldn't that be so cool? And now you're like seeing it in animation and it looks incredible and it's scary and it's thrilling. And even though every character has plot armor, you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Not every
not
character.
Not everyone. Most of them have plot armor. It was still so just suspenseful. And Darth Vader is a monster. He is terrifying.
Yeah, this was great. I had so much fun, and I won't get into it here. But the winner of the day was the Maul Shadow Lord finale. Okay, the winner on Monday was the Maul Shadow Lord finale. I was like, now put this on my local IMAX screen. Holy cow. I feel like, and I suddenly became envious of everybody who got the opportunity to go to the Maul finale episode at Lucasfilm. I was like, oh, they saw it on the big screen. They had the time of their lives. Like that could have been me, just because I desperately want to see all of this show on the biggest screen imaginable, because as we've talked about in our past Maul Madness episodes, like the style is so spectacular and the action has been really spectacular this whole season. And then these 2 final episodes are so suspenseful and so action heavy that I'm like, this is so, I'm having so much fun. Feeling the range of emotions that these episodes hand to us.
And Vader 2 just looked incredible in animation. This is the second time we've seen him now in the Clone Wars style, because we saw him at the very end of Siege of Mandalore with that iconic shot of him walking away in the reflection of the clone trooper helmet. And so now we get to see him again. We've seen him in Rebels, which, very unique style there. But he just looks so damn good here.
The Rebel style is like Clone Wars style, but thinner.
More of the like Ralph McQuarrie-esque kind of Vader.
Yeah, a little more in that direction.
Which I love, to be very clear. Like I love animation and all of its different variations and styles, and I think we need more of that. but I also love how clean the show is in terms of just like it sometimes looks like live action. It's like that good, you
Yeah.
know?
It's cool. Yeah, and I agree with you with Vader, and we'll talk about Vader very shortly, I think, in more detail, so I won't go like too much into Vader. But like the way that the camera moves around him and the way that he moves, I think was all so spot on. And yes, we know that both Maul and Vader have a particular amount of plot armor, means they will make it through this, but you really could feel the tension between the two, which was really successful because there's a world in which there's no actual tension there, or the tension feels superficial because we know they're both gonna, have other battles later on. But yeah, this was so successful to me.
Yeah, and you always get worried about when Lucasfilm pulls the Vader card and how often they do and how effective it
Sure.
can be. And I think we can probably point to times where it's been really effective, times where it has been not as effective. But I think this was extremely, extremely effective as well, especially when you consider the shared history of these two characters. Maul kills Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan trains Anakin, and then Anakin becomes Sidious's apprentice after Darth Maul, and Darth Maul tries to go and plead with Ahsoka to go kill Anakin in the Siege of Mandalore, and that doesn't work out, and now here they are, right? And so,
Mhm.
and then Obi-Wan eventually killing Darth Maul in Rebels. So it's just this very interesting quadrant of characters between Vader, Maul, or really Pentagon quadrant of character, or Pentagon shape of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, Vader, Anakin. You know, it's like they're all connected.
Throw Ahsoka in there.
Yeah. And Ahsoka. It's really a
because then you come back.
hexagon, right? Is that 6?
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Do we know our shapes? Let's go back to geometry class. Because then Ahsoka comes back in the Twilight of the Apprentice with the Vader angle, and then you can connect her to Maul too. It's a whole mess.
Yeah. There's also a really great article from Kristen Baver on StarWars.com that is all about breaking down Vader's arrival in the series and what it means. And I want to highlight this quote from Dave Filoni, who's just dropping some great knowledge here. He says, quote, "The challenge with using Vader here is to show Maul the horror of what you can become when you have power and evil come together in a more perfected version than what Maul is, which is a broken, scrambling version of evil." And I think that's such an interesting quote because, for much of the season too, Maul has been dealing with physical limitations. He gets injured early on, and the first thing that Vader does when they're fighting is go right for his leg again. And like for the rest of the fight, he's basically limping. And I think this is also why he ends up using a cane in Rebels. And I'm not sure if, those injuries come back to bite him later on in his life, but it is so interesting to think about the kind of sheer power, mechanical power of Vader versus Maul, who is still, I think, more human or like more humanoid than robot at this point.
I think the difference between them comes out in their fighting style, because while Maul has the cybernetic legs, he by and large moves very typically, and he is still very fit and still very agile, right? So you can see that in his fighting style. However, what was so good about how they did Vader in this particular piece is that Vader, all he can do is strike very powerfully. Bang, 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 bang.
Often one-handed.
Yeah. And you have to think about that with the context, and I think that's been discussed before. I just can't remember where, of how painful it is for him and how much he is constricted by the ways in which he has been altered by the cybernetics after his injuries. And so he has to be much more constrained than he was as Anakin because of like the disabilities that he now has. Despite that, he's still very, very powerful in the Force, and he has a certain amount of raw strength that he can call on to still fight. But like they're at two different levels of ability, of freedom of movement, for sure.
I also love not only the movement but the sizing of these two characters. Vader feels enormous every time he's in the frame.
Yes.
Like he just feels like a presence. They talked about that a little bit in this article about how they use specific like framing to bring out that enormity, and they also based a lot of his character design in this episode around David Prowse's original performance in The Empire Strikes Back, which is just, it's fascinating, right? So kind of keeping it to that original point of reference, but also really emphasizing the horror elements of Vader to make him like the scariest that he's ever been in animation, which I would argue this is definitely, this steals the cake. I mean, emerging out of the shadows of the forest after he rips Rook Cast's lungs out of her mouth, that's terrifying. That's information I didn't want to learn.
Yeah, we don't, see that necessarily, and I think that that's okay.
Yeah, and for context, that was what Vanessa Marshall had said in another creator interview. That was that they were like, "How do you want to go out?" And she's like, "I want Vader to rip the lungs out of me." And they're like, "Okay, there you go." So that like kind of choking, squelching sound you hear when she gets pulled back, So it's terrifying. He's scary.
I love how the creators are like, "Got you,
sure,
bet we'll do it."
We got you, fam.
And that's after we lose Icarus to the acid. And so
and Spybot.
And Spy. Okay. Okay. I have to recount the events here because I was like, not the acid. That's terrible. I can't believe they've done this. And then we lose Spybot. Boosh Kadoo no more. Everybody pour one out for Boosh Kadoo.
He Boosh Kadooed a little too close to the sun with Icarus.
Genuinely devastating. But I was like, we hit like a pause point, and I was like, oh, they had to put Spybot in the acid because they wouldn't do that to like a human-ish character. They wouldn't do that to like a living character. And then 2 minutes, I think you guys kind of like looked at me and didn't respond. And then 2 minutes later, Icarus is like in the acid. And I was like, never mind. Psych. I was wrong. Because I was like, this is a kid's show. And then we see somebody else's gun get in the acid, but they don't fall in the acid. And I was like their blaster. And I was like, okay, yeah, because they're not going to put a human character in the acid. And then they did. So we get the acid, and then we get the lungs ripped out through the mouth situation. And I go, this isn't a show for kids. Did I miss a tag on this AO3 fic? Like, oh, I didn't know we were going here.
I do got to appreciate a show that's just willing to kill those characters, though, right? Like Rook Cast, I could have seen as somebody who would go into season 2 or season 3 of the show, and they're like, no, we've had Vanessa Marshall doing this character since Clone Wars. She gone. She dead. I was like shocked.
I talked about it last week, but this is a group of creatives that killed Tech, and if they kill Tech, they'll kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The only people that have plot armor are the ones we see outside the show. Outside this show.
And we'll talk about our beloved Diodaki in a little bit as well when we get to Devon, but he was another casualty of this fight, and a horrible one. Lawson ? We'll get to him too.
Dead. He's dead. I'm sorry. We never saw Tech's body. Tech died.
I have some thoughts, but
we never saw Tech's body. Tech died. Okay.
Yeah, but Tech fell, and then Lawson just limped away.
God. Anyway, no, they're dead. Okay. I'm preserving my peace right now by saying that. Like, honestly, I can't have the hope in this one. Although I do think Tech lives, but not like in a serious way. You know what I'm saying? Just like the same, like the Rian Johnson trilogy lives. Like I believe it. I have to believe it in my heart, but it's not true.
The Rian Johnson trilogy is in a special farm up north with Tech and Captain Lawson.
Exactly.
And Ben Solo and the rest of the gang. They're all up there.
Exactly.
And the Bell Willimon script for the Dawn of the Jedi movie also up there.
Ouch.
Yeah. Ouch indeed.
That's fine.
I don't know if you would consider yourself a Vader girly.
No.
But I want to know, like, it's almost hard when Vader shows up on screen to not geek out a little bit, right? I mean, just like, one of the most iconic villains, and I'm kind of the same way, is like, I don't actively think of Vader all the time, but the moment he shows up on screen, I'm like, this is the greatest character to ever exist. I love this man. This is freaking amazing. And I just start geeking out.
The reality is that he's a thrilling villain to see his power on screen. You know, like
Yeah.
there's a reason why this character has sustained his popularity for almost 50 years. You know, it's because there's something so menacing about his stature and the way that he moves and the costume and the voice, all of it. Like, right? Like there was a real alchemy in the original Vader that continues today. In fact, I have a Darth Vader piggy bank bust on my shelf behind me. Brad can see it. Nobody else can. But like that I have all the time, even despite not being a Vader girly. Like I'm not thinking about Vader. I'm not seeking out Vader content. However, when he shows up and is used really effectively, I think of Rogue One. I think of a recent novel that I won't necessarily spoil here. But he has a recent novel appearance. I think of this show where it's so exciting to see him show up, you know, whether you like him or not, or whether you know, are really excited, geeked out to see him or not, because it just works. When it works, it works. And, you know, he's great here. He's great here.
He is. It's really interesting the impact that he's made on pop culture. I was on my Disney cruise and I did a lot of the trivia sessions that were held. But there was this one game show that they did called Majority Minds. They give you a prompt and then you have to write down what you think the answer that everybody else in the room is going to give. And if you guess the most common majority answer, you get a point for your team. And the question was, name any Star Wars character. Just name a character. And we immediately were like Darth Vader. And that was like the clear winner, not even close. Like everybody guessed Vader. And I just think that's so fascinating that he's the character people think of when they think of Star Wars. You know, not Luke, not necessarily Leia, at least in that room, right? But like I think his iconography as a villain is just it transcends time and space. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. What did you make of the choice of him not to speak a single line? What did that add to his aura?
He doesn't have to. Like, the first time I realized that was when you wrote it in this outline.
It's breathing does it.
It's because he's not like he as a character is not actually important to the story, which is what's great about it. He as a figure is important to the story because we as fans immediately recognize the gravitas, if you will, of the moment. Like when he has gravitas. And so when you walk in, you're like, oh, that's a heavy hitter, you know? And I think it relies on us knowing something about these characters, right? And I think it's more fulfilling and exciting if you do know something about the history of these characters. If you know something about Episode 1, if you know something about Clone Wars, then the fact that he doesn't speak any lines doesn't matter because you already know the history. And then when Maul says, what does he say? He says, "Who are you?" or "What are you?" Then you go, oh, he doesn't know yet, but we know. So I think we're putting all those pieces together in our heads. And it's not important that he says anything because he's kind of there to taunt to taunt all the rest of our characters a little bit with his presence and to be a mystery, even though we know the answer to the mystery.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point. It's sort of like stylistic driven, but also plot driven. I think the plot driven piece of it is really important because of the quote you mentioned when he says, "You are no Inquisitor. What are you?" And then after their like initial skirmish, you kind of hear Maul walking and he's like, no, it can't be. And he's like muttering under his breath. And I've been trying to decipher that as well, because when you think about it, Siege of Mandalore, he makes the plea to Ahsoka to say, "Join me. I want to kill Sidious. I know the Jedi wronged you as well, so you should also kill your master, Anakin Skywalker, who is going to be Sidious's apprentice. I've been having visions about it." And Ahsoka's like, no, I don't want to do that. So now him connecting the dots to say, this is not a mere Inquisitor. This is like something way more powerful. And also I think him recognizing some of the fighting styles as well, because he tells Devon and Diodaki, if I am right, he knows how you'll think. aggression is the only way to fight this thing. He's recognizing the fighting patterns from Sidious. He got trained by Sidious. So do you think the no, it can't be, and like, what are you? Is he suspecting this is Anakin? Or at least, if not Anakin, this is Sidious's apprentice?
I think he has to. I think he's so tapped into Sidious. Like this is his special interest is Sidious and killing him.
It's the PowerPoint that he brings up at the PowerPoint party with his friends.
That's right. He's like, and so this motherfucker, yeah.
He's like, guys, I've had 5 beers. Strap in.
yeah, exactly.
Get ready. It's 50 slides.
Yeah. And I think that I think he definitely recognizes something that is he mentions about the power, right? And I also think he's going through his head of like, okay, if you aren't an Inquisitor, but you are a special envoy here, if you are here, who could you be? If you aren't one of them and you aren't him, who are you? And then how many answers are there to that question? You know, he knows Sidious is alive. He doesn't know about Anakin, right? But he knows that there are 2.
And he knows Anakin was somehow involved in Palpatine's scheme to bring down the galaxy.
Yeah,
and he was at the center of it.
And he's a Sith. He knows how the structure works. And so there's something that he's recognizing as intrinsically Sith and intrinsically apprentice-like or sidiously evil, if you will.
Yeah. There's so many juicy layers to it. And again, just the threads between these 2 characters, and we know they eventually meet again in Twilight of the Apprentice and Rebels. And that's when he has to enlist Kanan and Ahsoka to help fight Vader and the Inquisitors, because from this battle in Maul Shadowlord, he realizes like how dangerous this foe is. So the next time they fight, or at least what we think is the next time they fight, I don't know if we'll see them fight each other again. It'll be a rematch of the century. Do you think we see Vader appear in the series again at any point, or do you think this was like the one-time use only, and now Sidious is really in the sights?
I think he could come back, Vader. But I hope that if he does, it's not anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be interesting for them to circle one another again, and like for him to be like, hey, what is this? You know, what are we doing here? Why, you know, it's so interesting if he does realize, oh, this is Anakin, like because he can do his thing. He can do his thing that he always does. You've been tortured by the system. I've been tortured by the system. We have a common enemy, bestie. Let's link up. Let's revenge plot together, because like that could be a really powerful tool. It's not going to work, not in this day and age, but it would be interesting. But I think that like the bigger foe is Sidious, and I guess it just depends on how much show they have planned out for this show.
Yeah, it definitely feels like an endgame thing. I kind of see Maul's trajectory as climb the ranks of the syndicates and Crimson Dawn to where we see in Solo. Maybe I don't know if Devon is still alive during Solo, where Devon is in the picture there, because like Kira, like does Kira fill that niche eventually with if Devon is gone? But I feel like it'd be interesting to see like is it Devon Maul versus Sidious Vader as like the end game of the series, and Maul gets bested one last time. And not that I want to see like Devon kind of take the sword just for plot. I think there are more interesting ways to navigate that, because we know she's not in Rebels, right? So like what happens to Devon is a big question.
Do you think so we know, I don't want to get too far into speculation, but also there's no structure here. We can do whatever we want.
It's a good time to do it. And we'll talk about Devon and Maul right after this as well. So it's a good transition as well.
Yes. So we know that Whitwer has said, oh yes, like we know season 2's happening, and Whitwer keeps saying soon. He keeps saying soon, and he keeps like looking the camera in the eye and being like soon. Bestie, what does that mean? What does that
next
mean?
Year.
Soon. You think next year? Not this year? Could you?
I mean, if it's this year, that would be one of the quickest turnarounds they've ever done.
But if they've greenlit 2 seasons already and they've locked it in, because animation is typically so far ahead of when we actually see it, I feel like, oh, maybe we throw it in December. Just keep them all train going.
Like a fall release, like October.
Well, I think October is going to be Ninth Jedi-ish time. I don't think that will come earlier than the fall. But I could see more Maul Shadowlord this year. But my point being, how much show do they have planned? Because we get Maul as the leader of Crimson Dawn, or as the real power of Crimson Dawn. Could we go that far in this show?
I almost feel like you have to. There's so much interesting stuff to mine there, you know, with Kira.
Because it's just a cameo in there. There's a lot to develop around that.
Yeah, I almost feel like if you don't do it here, you don't do it ever. And Solo 2 is not happening. You know, that's not in the books. So this is the spot for
never.
it. Yeah, I guess I don't want to be a cynic, but I don't think I would love to see it happen. I would love to have Alden come back and do more Solo. But I think animation as well is just a great medium to tell these stories and to really take those deep dives, you know, versus live action where you're often more limited. Just based on like budget and mechanics and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know, Sarah. It's really interesting. How does Maul get to from here to decrepit old man with a cane?
Right.
Grooming Ezra Bridger.
Right. God damn it.
And he needs something from Ezra too, so.
Right. Wow, I should rewatch Rebels just for fun.
Noteworthy too, he's missing his one saber in Rebels that he gives to Devon as well.
Listen.
All right, you want to talk about Devon and Maul? Is this the time?
Can we talk about that moment? Because
yeah,
when that started happening, I think I was like, oh no, jail.
Like when he's walking in the background while she's fighting the crow and you can kind of see him watching her, I'm like, oh, it's about to go down.
But when she loses her saber, and I was like, oh, but he's got two. Oh no, he's got two. He's got two. So I think that this relationship between Devon and Maul like has to last because otherwise he would get that saber back. You know? To me, he doesn't strike me as a person to just give gifts freely and mean it. So what happens to Devon? You know, that like it's making the wheels in my head turn because I feel like it can't be good. It can't be good. Or like either she dies or she betrays him and leaves and takes that half of his saber.
Also a possibility, betrayal.
Yeah, there's oh gosh, it's so interesting to me. The more we talk about it, the more excited I become about the future of the show and like Maul as a character because he's so juicy. He's so fun to discuss. And I just yeah. That's why we do a podcast is when I go, yeah.
I feel like you're way more up on Maul than ever before. Cause I mean, you've really enjoyed the show.
Yes.
I know you generally have very like specific interests that you really love and dive into and obsess over. And I don't necessarily know if this whole show has been one of those things, but you've always you've loved the art style and the like creativity of the show. But now even in the finale era, I'm kind of feeling like I'm feeling the Maul love coming off of you. I feel like a little bit of something and that excites me.
A week ago, I was like, man, I don't know. My heart's not in it. Like it's good, but I'm not like, yeah, let's go, Maul. And
like
then
I gotta watch it at 3 a.m.
Right. And then I watched this finale and my hands were up in shock. My hands were over my head in shock. I stood up. That's a big deal in this house. Out of delight. I had a really, really fun time. And I think the thing is, whenever I engage with Maul, like I have a fun time. Like when I watched The Siege of Mandalore and had no background on, Clone Wars, but like a handful of years ago when we sat down and initially watched The Siege of Mandalore, I had the time of my life. And then we watched it again for the pod and I had so much fun again. So I think it's like, I enjoy, like, he's not where I gravitate to. I'm not likely, if there are 5 books in front of me and they all have various characters and one of them is Maul, I'm probably not going to pick Maul, but when we talk about him, when I think about him, he's very interesting. And so I think that makes it exciting, even if it's not my niche. It's like, because he's so complex as a character, he remains interesting. And yeah, there's a lot of time to fill. There's a lot of gaps to fill in. And now that we've lost all the good dads, Brander is dead. Okay. Brander is not coming back. Brander is dead.
We'll see.
He's gone. Tech is gone. Brander's gone. Okay. We just can't kill off the nice dad in a way that is so, we can kill off the Jedi like that, but we can't kill off the nice dad like that. Okay. That's how it works. Anyway, it's like, I'm so curious to know how, like, we see the corruption of Devon here, and we see immediately how the loss of Daki fuels her rage and her hurt, because Daki was like her whole world, right? Like her world as a Jedi collapsed with Order 66. It's been a year since then. She feels a little restless. She feels like, you know, maybe Maul is right in saying that like the system has wronged all of us. Maybe he's right in saying that we should be more proactive than we're being. And it's because, you know, she grew up in a very war-torn time when the Jedi were very proactive, maybe a little too much so. And so she loses the Jedi, she loses the community and the physical space. She only has Daki. She loses Daki. Who else is there? The only other person who's truly given her advice and connected with her is Maul. Problem. But the other piece of this is Riley. Now that Riley has lost Brander, we are assuming has lost Brander. If Brander does not, I don't think Brander's going to come back anytime soon if he is alive. And Brander said, oh, to Two Boots, get him to his mother. His mother works for the Empire on Coruscant. What does that mean for Riley? And so that's really, really interesting to me too, is like, does Riley go on a corruption arc? Do these two stay in touch? Is there a sort of Lost Stars tension between these two people who end up on opposite sides?
You read my mind.
This is why we're friends.
Because I was like, is there a world where Riley does your corruption arc comment? Will he ever see eye to eye with the Empire after the loss of his dad? Or is that the nature of the Empire? Is like, despite what you've been through, it can still somehow take you in, churn you up, spit you out as its own cog in a large machine. That's the horrifying aspect of it.
No, what if we are doing Lost Stars, but in TV form with these two characters? With or without the romance. With or without the romance, but like even the tension between the two, like Thane and Sienna, like the tension just between who chooses to stay and who chooses to go.
I'm all in on the Riley Devon ship. I am
sure
50 miles out from the shore at this point on the boat. I already got my chair out. I'm just sitting there tanning. I'm like, we're sailing wherever the wind goes.
Right.
I'm on this boat for the long haul. I'm here.
Yep.
But I do love the idea of Riley kind of being that one figure now in Devon's life who can help her gravitate towards the light when she doesn't see it necessarily. There's this really great fan art that I reposted on our Twitter page of like Riley or of Devon, and Maul's the devil on her shoulder and Diodaki is the angel. And I think it's fantastic. It's by a user named C3 Pochi. I think it's a great representation of just like the influence of these characters on Devon. And now that she's lost that angel on her shoulder, like she's just totally going to be corruptible and vulnerable and malleable to what Maul wants to teach her. And I think he's appealed to her in a very effective way, much more effective than he did with Ahsoka in the Siege of Mandalore, where she was like, no, not at all. I don't want to join you, actually.
She was like, thanks, but absolutely no thanks.
Yeah. and he makes like somewhat of a similar appeal here by name dropping Darth Sidious and saying that's who trained him. And he brought down the Republic and brought down and purged the Jedi Order. And he's like, I implore you, use your rage and unleash your potential. So like, even after all of they've been through this season, he's still hammering home that like, there is more to you than you're allowing yourself to tap into. I beg you to do it, which not unlike many of the words that we heard Palpatine speak to Anakin in his office when he says like, use my knowledge, I beg you. You know, it's much of the same influence. And manipulation that these two Sith Lords have exerted on their Padawans and apprentices, you know?
Yeah. Maul could stop the cycle of abuse, but he chooses not to.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say though, that final shot of the season between the close up of Devon's eyes and then her mouth saying, "All right, I'm ready." And then Maul's close up of his eyes with no other words, but kind of that orchestral music, that high note that plays almost like a I don't know if it's like a violin or something. It was excellent. It was so good. It's just the perfect cinematic end of the season. I have no notes.
Yeah, I also thought it was great. I mean, this is just a really, really well structured finale. It's so upsetting and so thrilling, and also it's so action heavy, but pushes the plot forward in the consequences and leaves us with so much more that we want to see and what we desire to see out of this show. And yeah, the last shot, even just Riley being there, like Riley is the biggest question mark because I feel like there's a clear path for Devon and Maul, but who is Riley in all of this? Just him being there is like, where do we go from here? I feel like my speculations are also vague because I don't really know what the next steps for them are. Yeah. Ooh, wah.
I want to give like the biggest round of applause as well to Gideon Adelon, who I think did an incredible performance for Devon throughout the entire season. But this last episode with the pain that she feels over the loss of Diodaki, I think is some of the best acting that she's done in the series so far. Just her comments about like, I will kill them. And the moment when Diodaki does die and her screaming no and giving into that rage is just so, I don't know. I feel like I learned so much about her character just in those moments than I have the rest of the season. It's just like, again, her most heartbroken version of herself and what she's feeling. And I don't know, just like very true, raw emotions through that voice acting, I think is incredible work.
Yeah, I think she is really, really great in this role. And you feel a lot of empathy for Devon in the position that she's been in as a young person quite quickly. And to see her conflict throughout the season and then to see the rage take over, you can hear it so clearly in her voice and her performance. So I think it was really spectacular. And I think we always love Witwer as Maul. Like he crushes it every time. The drama, the camp, the madness, he has it all, you know? And for Gideon Adelon as Devon to kind of go toe to toe with him, I think was really, really exciting. And yeah, I think there's not really a bad performance in this whole show, which I'm really grateful about. I think all the performances are so dynamic and really make the show. You know, the show could be beautiful, but if all the performances were crap, like you know, we wouldn't have a good time. But I'm grateful that like Devon, like Gideon Adelon as Devon, like is at the center of the heart of this show, really bringing the biggest emotions and the biggest transformation over the series.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm excited but heartbroken to know that, you know, Devon's future is full of anger and hatred, and I don't want that for her. But I'm curious to see where that leads her into what levels of power that she can attain, and then like what is the thing that brings her back. And then there's also the other elephant in the room that we haven't mentioned yet. There's a moment when Diodaki and Maul are fighting Vader, and Maul is kind of exhausted, and Diodaki's by himself for just a moment, and Maul force pushes Diodaki towards Vader and kind of staggers him, hoping Vader will land a killing blow. So there's this like secret that now Devon's new master kind of betrayed her old master. And so like, what is that going to mean when that truth comes to the surface?
It feels like when Devon figures this out, if she's gonna figure, actually, you know what? She's gonna figure it out. She's got to figure it out. This has got to be an important part of her arc at some point in the future. It feels like she's gonna be Count Dooku when Count Dooku hears like kill him from Palpatine.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like,
wait, what?
Wait a second.
Bro, we didn't agree to this. This deal's getting worse all the time.
Right. But also I think that's what that moment kind of feels like, is like the betrayal in that moment is like so shocking. And of course, like I guess we're working really backwards here from the end of 10 to 9. But when all these characters get together at the beginning of 9, I'm like, well, isn't this a party? Isn't this a fun little party? And they all know it too, that their alliance is very temporary. We all need to get off here. The enemy of the enemy is my friend, but we are not friends in any other context. And we see them as allies throughout episode 9 as they battle the Inquisitors, as they try and use Lawson's information to get to the jungle, and to get through the acid, et cetera, et cetera. They kind of have to use everybody's skills. They have to be a team in order to make it happen. But in that moment, Maul had to use Daki's skills and also Daki's weaknesses in order to save himself. And that was where the line was drawn. Our alliance is over. I'm willing to sacrifice you if it means I get to leave.
Yeah.
And we're no longer all in this together. Clap. That's High School Musical choreo for you. And yeah, I think that moment is shocking and deeply upsetting in the show, but also kind of expected from a character like Maul. And when and if it comes to light, it will be devastating. Now, can I put a thought to you before you respond? Because I
loved cursed thoughts. Yes.
Force echoes. What if we end up back on this planet for some reason? Maybe we're looking for Lawson. Maybe we're
so now Lawson's alive to you? Oh,
no, Riley,
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Riley thinks Lawson could be alive. And so Devon, in her allegiance to Riley, is like, I'll go look on this planet back for you. We'll go home, bestie. I'll let you know. And then they go back to the spot on the bridge. And suddenly, force vision. Oh, you force pushed him? Not today.
So you're kind of on the Devon might have like psychometry. I don't know how to say it. The power that the Crow or that Merrick and like Cal Kestis and like Quinlan Voss, that power that they have.
Yeah, sure. But sincerely, why not? And also, if she's accessing the dark side, she's accessing maybe a whole host of powers that were previously unknown to her. Maybe something like that. Something, if it's not psychometry or whatever, like maybe something like that, because we know Maul gets all sorts of visions in his majorly messed up brain. Maybe she gets access to some sort of vision or premonition or ability to visualize the Force in a different way. Because how else is she going to find out that information? Because Vader is probably not going to tell her, man of few words, and Maul's not going to tell her. Unless he decides to tell her. He's not stable.
Unless it's like a mind meld situation in Star Trek. My mind is your mind, and they're kind of doing their dark side magic stuff to really tap into it. And then she sees like him push Theodaki.
Force time. Kind of like Force time in the sequels.
Well, we've already seen that too. Was it at the beginning? I think it was in episode 7 or 8 where Maul's trying to communicate with Devon, and he's like, Devon.
Yes. It's at the beginning. No, it's literally also at the beginning of 9, and that's the impetus for this whole thing. Is like, she's like, I see a fountain, and
that's in this episode. Yes,
I promise we've seen these episodes. And that's the whole thing of like, so that they can communicate, do something, and then Lawson's like, or no, Daki's like, that's a trap, girly pop, and they're like, yeah, but I think we got it. Like, that's clearly Maul who's chatting with us. Maybe we should go talk to him, because right now we're all being hunted by the Empire, and that's kind of bad. But like, clearly, how in control of that vision is he to her? Maybe something goes awry in what he wants to present to her.
We know Maul is always about he's always about the right points, but the wrong presentation of those points.
Right.
So
right.
he's bound to
MO. He's like, Emperor bad. And he's like, you should kill your bestie Anakin. Actually, I know you have years of history and are like really close with that. Like, we need to kill that man. And if we kill baby Hitler, everything will be fine. Which is like, that's not exactly how it works. But I mean, I guess in that case, yes. And, but like, Palpatine could still rise to power without Anakin or etc.
Could you imagine the show if it like went to World Between Worlds and Maul goes back in time to kill baby Palpatine? And he's like, I gotta kill this baby. And they're like, who are you?
I bet you he would really do it. I think he would be like, yeah, it's so over, because if I kill baby Palpatine, then we don't have the Clone Wars. I don't get tortured in my apprenticeship to Palpatine. I don't lose my legs. Maybe I find love one day, like I think he would be like, if given the option to be like in the world between worlds and he's got 2 doors and one of them kills baby Palpatine, he'd be like, yeah, toodaloo, baby Palpatine. I think he would. He
would save so many lives. So many.
Literally all of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The whole planet. Yeah.
Whole planet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Qui-Gon.
I want that as a Star Wars what if. what if Darth Maul killed baby Palpatine?
But then it would be like the what if there is like, it's Star Peace.
Maul actually becomes a senator from Dathomir and he joins the Senate and
wait.
Could you imagine?
You can take that idea.
Listen. I think it's a great idea.
He's so single. Point being, he's so single-minded about his pursuit of Palpatine. But where does he mess up along the way? And he will mess up because that boulder does have to roll back down on him.
Mm-hmm. He do be Sisyphus maxing for sure.
He do be Sisyphus maxing. Wow, I'm so glad we've had a really conversation that includes the word Sisyphus maxing.
I gotta say, I don't really understand a lot of the what is it, Gen Alpha? Is that Gen Alpha speak?
Yeah.
But the whole maxing situation is very funny to me. It's just a funny.
You can max anything.
Word.
We're podcast maxing right now.
We are, yeah. I don't know. I kind of like that one. I don't like all the Gronk, baby Gronk, Riz, Ohio, Skibbity stuff, but
I don't know what any of those words mean, really.
Me neither. I don't either. But the maxing, I get it. I gotta say too, like going back to your point about the alliance when we were alliance maxing in the beginning of episode 9 is, I think that's the most tragic part about this whole two part finale is just for a glimpse. We had greatness. Just for a glimpse, we had that shot of Diodaki with him igniting his lightsaber, Maul on his left, Devon on his right.
Yes.
The, like kind of speedy run into the hallway through the Inquisitor moment. That was like a wild shot. But like the excellence of that fight, of them cooperating and helping each other, and it was that side of Maul where maybe he does see, again, he's really still in it for himself at the end of the day, but like it was nice just for a moment until he tells Rook Cast, have some respect, Rook. He's a Jedi Master and we need him for now.
It's if only he learned the power of friendship,
Right. Like him and Obi-Wan could have taken down Sidious easily with Luke.
If only he learned the power of friendship. Honest to God. That and then they could have rode off into the sun. Everybody could have rode off into the sunset. Kind of like at the end of Ronin Visions episode. I can't remember what the second one is called. In Visions 3. Where they kind of have a little battle, but it's like we're going to ride off into the sunset together.
Yes. That's what I want.
Yeah,
sure.
me too. So
it's the duel payback.
Oh, it's just called Payback. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Just 2 brilliant episodes. I'm so happy we got to watch them together. Star Wars is always better when we watch it over FaceTime. Well, especially when I've seen it first and I can wait for your reactions. It's even better for me.
And I mean, okay, Star Wars is fun in all of the options, right? Because when we finished The Rising Storm at the same time and sent those really unhinged selfies of pure shock to one another, that was really fun when we were experiencing it at the same time. And then sometimes it's really fun when I finish a book before you and I'm like, let me know when you get to chapter 25. And you're like, oh, chapter 25 cooked. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And then vice versa. When you're like, I can't wait for you to react to all the things I've already gone to. And so yeah, point being, Star Wars is more fun with friends. And when you get to, it's like that one friend I've made watch Andor who knows nothing else about Star Wars, has never seen a Star Wars in their life, and is like, Cassian, the love of my life. And I'm like, yeah, just so you know, he dies and now won't finish it. Because the shock on her face. Anyway, I'm gonna bully her to finish it soon. So it'll happen. I'll keep you guys updated on what we think of the finale of Andor and Rogue One. But yeah, this show is so much fun. The show is more fun with friends. Star Wars is more fun with friends. Let's watch season 2 together when it comes out, as Sam Witwer says, soon.
Soon. Sarah, before we wrap up, now that we're at the end of the season,
yes,
any odds and ends that you have, things that throughout the entire season, or just these 2 episodes to keep it, simple, that we haven't talked about, but you wanted to bring up in these closing moments of the pod.
I have talked about it, but I would like to bring back Boushh Kadu. The loss of Spybot was devastating, deeply upsetting. What a weird little guy. And we lost too soon. I fear we did not get enough Boushh Kadu for a lifetime. So bring him back. That's one thought I have. Another odds and ends that I have is I do wonder, and we've talked about this a bit, but I guess I'm just wrapping up this thought, is like, in the beginning of the show, we really saw the juxtaposition or the, where allegiances fell between the local police, the crime syndicates, and then like the Empire in the background and Maul. And so much of the season felt quite contained because of that, which I really enjoyed. And I wonder where we go from here, if it continues to stay contained, but now within the realm of the crime syndicates, or maybe just Crimson Dawn, because now we know that Maul has to help Dryden Voss to get to leadership in Crimson Dawn. Or if now that we are off planet, the scope will become much bigger. One thing I really loved about this season is how small the scope was. I felt like we really got to explore the dynamics of the city, which was really enjoyable to me. So I'll be curious to see where the setting goes and how the setting, what role it plays as a character for all of our characters. I also don't think we talked enough about Riley's mom in our conversations. But she's another character that I have a lot of interest in, and will be curious to see how Riley interacts with her. Again, because the divorce or the separation between Brander and his mom was only or Brander and Riley's mom is what I mean there. Only within the past year or so, we assume. And so I wonder what their relationship is like, and also how she'll handle the loss of Brander Lawson, her ex-husband. So I think that'll be really curious too. I know this is more speculation than things in the past season, but I think they all kind of go together. There's a lot to think on.
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest question for me, is how big in scope does the show become? I know Matt McNevet's in the same Vader article says you'll get a sense of how Maul is able to get his claws into Crimson Dawn. Okay. So I think that'll definitely be a big part of the series. But yeah, there's so many competing things happening. There's Crimson Dawn, Sidious, Devon and Maul getting their revenge, Riley's mom. So I do hope, to your point, I hope the show is able to contain its sort of narrow focus on these characters. I want to learn more about these characters. I want to sit with these characters and in deep conversations, and to feel them in their weakest moments and see them come out on top, hopefully. I'm just so excited. I think the show did such a great job for setting up the series ahead. And I think if it does expand in scope drastically, I think it's earned it, because it's just a great season starter. So yeah, gosh, so much ahead. I don't have any other odds and ends. I think we've covered most of it. The one thing I do want to call out, though, is Maul does the Starkiller pose.
Yes.
In episode 9, when he splits his 2 sabers apart and he jumps across the bridge and he puts them behind his back. That is a Starkiller pose specifically. And I think I saw somebody from Lucasfilm repost a post about that as well. So I consider that a an acknowledgement of like, yes, that is what it is. So I just love the little homages that they've done throughout the series as well. Just subtle ones, like the Splinter of the Mind's Eye cover with Vader walking out of the forest. Like, there's just so many like brilliant things with animation that really make you appreciate how much of a love these folks have for Star Wars. And again, not hitting you overtly over the head with nostalgia, but just these subtle nods to say like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, it's not distracting, but it's very
Right.
fun.
Right.
And I think it's a great place to do that. So, yeah, just great season. Thanks for talking with me about Maul.
Yeah.
I'm so excited we did this. I'm glad we did our 3-episode plan, although slightly out of our initial order, but I think it worked out because we got to talk about these 2 excellent episodes on their own today, which like, I don't know how we could have done it any other way because like, what a bang.
Yeah, if we had covered the rest of the season, which is we floated it because just like life was crazy, and we would have only talked about these 2 episodes.
Yeah. So we did it right. We did it right. But I can't wait to do it again for season 2. So thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed the Maul madness as much as we did. And if you want to hear more from us in the coming months ahead, you could follow us on all of our socials, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. And remember to subscribe to the pod wherever you listen. If you enjoyed Maul Madness, leave us a review. Let us know what you love about the podcast. It's much appreciated and helps others find the show.
Yeah, we will be talking books, and more books alongside new Mando and Grogu, things that are upcoming. So I know we're excited about a lot of things on our schedule. So please join us. Please continue to join us. And thank you to our patrons who join us all the time. Andy, Brian, Cheryl, Clay, Emma, Ian, Jennifer, Josephine, Katie, Knights of Ren, Crystal, Logan, Lindsay, Matthew, Mark, Nicole, Rob, Bruce, Santa, Sky Talkers, Tom, and Viglyph. We are very appreciative of your support and very grateful for everyone in joining us in another Star Wars conversation. I hope that you are feeling okay about Star Wars Celebration tickets, no matter how it went for you. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Stay hydrated, stay healthy.
Absolutely. Thank you all once again. And until next time, may the Force be with you always.